Hello. As you know, the vast majority of claims I see after close of escrow relate to non-disclosure. Typically, a buyer will find out something about a house which they think should have been disclosed to them, and they'll get their lawyer involved and oftentimes file a lawsuit against the brokers and the seller. As a result, your disclosure is probably the most important thing you can do during a deal in order to keep yourself out of legal trouble. And for that reason, you can imagine how surprised I was when reviewing a file this week, I came upon an avid that was totally blank. Thankfully, it was filled out by the other side, not one of our agents, but it literally had no substantive information on it. And so I thought to myself, if somebody can think that's okay, it's maybe something we should talk about a little more. So let's do that. First, you need to remember that there's only one statutory obligation you have. That is to do a reasonably competent and diligent visual inspection of the property and disclose what that inspection finds to the buyer. That is your only statutory obligation. There's nothing else anywhere in the code books of California that gives you an obligation to do anything at all. So you got to make sure you do it well. You've got to make sure you do that inspection and disclose well. That's number one. Number two, there is not a house without something to disclose, whether it's a major item like a crack in a foundation wall, or it's something minor like some pen marks on a wall or a door or something of that nature. There's always something that you can find in a home. If you don't think you found anything, then you didn't inspect hard enough. Look again. Even a brand new home has punch list items that you can disclose. And so because it's our one and only item of statutory obligation, and because it's something that protects us from lawsuits, you have to always do a very careful inspection and make sure to disclose things to your buyer. Now, if you represent the buyer, on the other hand, and you get blank disclosures from the seller or the seller's agent, what should you do? Well, the first thing you should do is go back to the other side. Say to the agent, are you sure you've got nothing to disclose? I inspected this property myself and I found a number of items that the buyer needed to know. Are you sure you don't want to amend your disclosures? If they say no, that's their prerogative and you give the blank documents to your client. But by going back and asking them or the seller to amend, you've at least tried to get your buyer everything that they're entitled to. And that's your job. So remember, always fill yours out carefully and completely. It's like buying insurance. And if you get a blank one from the other side, ask them to do the right thing. If they do, great. If they refuse, that's fine. Either way, you've protected yourself and made it less likely that you have a problem. Thanks a lot.